thought. Okay, so we're gonna try to do that, right? Right, guys? Amen. Say yes. Bubbles. Let's do the bubbles thing, the clapping thing. I don't know how you do that. You've hit some button. Okay, let's go on the phones. Heather calling us from Tennessee. Heather, welcome to the program.
Hi, Dr. Cloud. It's a pleasure to speak with you.
Good to speak. Oh, loving your accent. Say more. Say more.
Well, thank you. I'm calling today with a question about a dynamic with my coworker. We are, just to give you a little background, we're both in accounting. I've been in the position about 20 years, and she's been in the position about 3 years.
And is she an asset or a liability
goes,
on your balance sheet?
Well, I would say she's an asset. She does a good job, but I think
That's
that
good.
she's stuck a little bit. A lot of our job is routine and it repeats. And so she is good at the things that are set and constant, but anytime she encounters something that is out of balance or that she needs to try to dig into and figure out, she doesn't take time to try to figure it out herself. She's really quick to ask me to help her to do it. And so I've kind of tried to give her
And what is her
full
position in
answers
relation to you? Are you her peer, colleague, working alongside with the same responsibilities, or are you somehow her authority, her boss, her team leader, or something like that?
I'm not her boss. We're basically peers.
You're peers, okay. So you're both rowing the canoe together, and she's going, how do you get the paddle in the water?
Yeah, that's right. So I just want to get your insight on how I can encourage her to just pause and try to figure it out herself instead of being so quick to ask me to answer it for her.
Well, let me ask you a really quick, obvious question. Have you said exactly what you just said to me to her?
No, I think I need help in what that conversation looks like. I don't want to come across as unwilling to help. I want to come across as encouraging.
Okay. You certainly have come across that way so far in this call. What is your automatic voice telling you in the head? When you fantasize about talking to her about that, what does the voice say in your head?
Well, I've got some frustrations that's built up because it seems that I think she can do it, but I think that it's too quick for her to ask for help. And I want to answer her quickly, but I don't want to come across as frustrated. And I feel like I've probably let it go on a little longer than I should have.
Right. But what I'm asking is everything you just said, you could say to her, you know what I've noticed that, when we're working along, there's a lot, when you run into a problem or something, you come to me, what I've noticed is I got a lot of confidence in you and I think you can figure this stuff out, but sometimes you don't do that. You come to me and I don't want to come across as being critical or anything like that, but I'd like to talk about that because I believe in you. Now, when you think about having that, then what's the automatic thought that comes to you that says, but if I do that, this is going to happen? What is it?
I think she would receive that well. I think that my only fear would be that if she wouldn't ask for help when she really does need it and maybe makes a mistake that would impact customers or financials in a negative way.
Okay, so you share her fear.
I think so, yeah. We want to do a good job and make sure everything, we're a lot alike in personality.
But are you afraid? Are you afraid if you let her punch in these numbers or you let her categorize them on the spreadsheet of where they ought to go, or you let her match those to the code and what it requires? Are you afraid that she really doesn't know enough where it's going to impact customers? Is that a real fear? That's not a bad thing, but is that real?
Yes, I think so.
Okay. So then I think you've said some very, very important things, right? But what you can't listen to is, like I started earlier, you can't listen to the future telling prognostications in your head that this is going to go bad. We have to take what we know and deliver it in the best way. So using your formula that you want to do with her, right? You want her to figure this out. I'm going to do that with you. What do you think would be
Okay.
a good way to say what you said to me to her that would take care of all those fears? What would that look like?
I think if I was to tell her just to kind of
I'm
take a
going to
few
be her.
minutes, and
I'm going to be her. I'm going to be her. So let's practice this. Okay. So, um,
okay.
uh, so, so Heather, I got this receipt, this expense, and I don't really know what category it goes in. I don't even know if that's allowed as an expense under the code, or, can you help me with this?
Well, I'm working on something right now, but what have you looked at so far?
Oh, that's good. Gosh, Heather, I didn't really look at some. Is there something I can look at that could help me figure this out?
Yeah, you might want to look at what we've put it to in the past.
Oh, we've done this before?
Yeah, if an employee gets that kind of material that usually goes, you can check on John Doe that we did maybe last month or so.
Okay, see see how good you are, Heather? I don't feel offended at all. And I think one of the things, if I would guess, is that you're a nice person, you're a helpful person, and you're probably very sensitive to the feelings of others, right? You don't want to come across, like you
Mm-hmm.
said, this, that, and the other. So let me just give you a couple of formulas here that you can use in this. I think one of the things you say to her is exactly what you said to me. You know what? I think you are a great asset to our team. I love how, you do a lot of great things. Sometimes I feel like that you don't know how good you are, or how good that you could be in figuring a lot of things out that would help you get faster, because you wouldn't have to come to me. So, are you aware of that, Susie? Are you aware that you do that? What would she say?
I think she would say she's not aware of it.
Okay, I didn't think you were, um, but I notice it that there's a lot of things you come to me, and I think, gosh, she is so smart, and she's done that very thing before. I think she could go. So here's what I'd like to do. I'd like for when you have that first thought that you want to bring something to me, I just want you to ask yourself a couple of questions. Say, have do we have a model of how to do this, that we've done this kind of before? Number one, and you might find the answer. Number two, if you haven't, and it really is a new thing, then let's name that new thing. This is how you do this kind of this, that, and the other. And if you really don't know, come to me and I'll show you. But after I show you, I would like for you to kind of keep a record of that and know how to do in the future. So what I want to do is I want to be available to you in things that you truly don't know or can't go figure it out. But I want you to come after you've tried to figure it out and you hit a wall. And that way, I think you'd find out how good you really are.
That's wonderful. I think that that's a great formula, and she'll receive that very well.
That's great. Now here's the news, Heather. Those are all things you told me. You got a great heart. You got a great heart with great ideas, a lot of grace, maybe a little courage to think about stepping into that space. And then if she does get offended or come across, say, gosh, I really didn't want to come across that way. I'm sorry it felt that way to you. I just really believe in you. And I think you could go learn this. I'll be happy to help you learn something you don't know. But I want you to try first. Can you try first? And then we'll work on it.
Okay, wonderful.
And
That
one thing you
I
might
can
add,
do. We'll talk about that this week.
that's great. And one of the things you might add is, and here's one other thing to help you learn that you can learn. When you do bring it something to me that is the same thing, I'm gonna point that out to you. Say, no, wait a minute, we talked about this. We've done this before.
Okay.
And then I'll hand it to you to go back and see. And in about 6 months, I'm gonna be coming to you for help, because you will have surpassed me, because you've gone and learned all this stuff. All right,
Yes. All right, wonderful.
Heather,
Thank you so much for your help.
you're welcome.
Yes,
I
sir.
want you, I was an accounting and finance major. And if I were on an accounting team, I would want you helping me.
Oh, well, thank you so much.
That's true thing. You know, one of the most, and I appreciate your call. Thank you, and thank you for your spirit to help your coworker.